So I apologize for the really shitty quality of this video and that it may be late, but my camera broke and there has been life stuff going on, so deal with it, okay? Okay, we're gonna move on. We're doing chapters 23 to 25 of The Fault in Our Stars today. Let's get started. Hazel goes over to Isaac's house and they play blind people video games and they try to get the voice system to be funny. They're trying to be normal, but it's hard because Gus is gone. Isaac is like, dude, I've been alone in this dark cave for weeks and I need some relief. Hump the cave wall. And the system's like, you attempt to jump, and then he's like, no, hump the cave wall. Thrust pelvis against the cave wall. And she's like, I do not understand. Isaac says, I just like living in a world without Augustus Waters. And the computer says, I don't understand. And he says, me neither. Pause. Kind of shows that they're trying to cope as best they can, but everything just kind of sucks because Augustus is gone. Hazel's kind of angry with the universe because her dad said the universe wants to be noticed, but she thinks that we want to be noticed by the universe as individuals, and that's what Augustus wanted, and he didn't really get what he wanted, and now he's just gone. It's really upsetting time. Isaac asks if he ever gave her the sequel to an Imperial Affliction he was writing, and Isaac doesn't really know what it was actually that he was writing, but he knows that Augustus was writing something, and that it was maybe for Hazel, and Hazel's like, dude, what? She goes to Gus's house to find out what he wrote, because that's huge development. But she gets in her car. Peter Van Houten is there, just chilling in the backseat, listening to some Swedish hip-hop, as you do. What are you doing, Van Houten? You're crazy. Van Houten says he wants to apologize to Hazel for being a dick, and she says, no, get out of my car. Van Houten says that she reminds him of Anna, and starts talking about some saint that said that pain is like fabric. The stronger it is, the more it is worth. Which is, as Hazel says, complete bullshit. Houten starts crying and he says that he ruined their trip. Hazel's like, you bastard, we had an awesome trip, shut up. And he's crying, he's freaking out, and Hazel realizes that he had a kid that died from cancer. And that is why he did all the things that he did, and that is why his book is so honest and realistic. You feel kind of bad for Van Houten. I do. You have to feel bad for him at this point because he doesn't have anything. He had a wife and he had a kid who died at 8 from osteosarcoma. Like he did in Amsterdam, Van Houten starts talking about some philosopher to mask his pain. Hazel won't let him, so he talks about how he had to tell his daughter that she was going to die. He would be with her in heaven soon. But he said that 20 years ago. You can tell that he feels really bad about it and that he wishes that he could be truthful with her. But she's gone, and she's been gone for a long time, and it's really sad. Hazel tells him to go home and write more. He's good at it. Van Houten leaves, and he sat down on the curb behind the car. As I watched him shrink in the rearview mirror, he pulled out the bottle, and for a second it looked like he would leave it on the curb. And then he took a swig. I don't know why, but that is kind of hopeful to me. You can't just expect someone to totally just change their lifestyle in a second. He's going, and hopefully he will try and get back on his feet and write more. And even though he's still dependent on alcohol, maybe one day he won't be. She goes to Gus's house, and his sisters and their kids show up, and the kids are loud and crazy and running around and saying dumb butt. And it's a huge contrast to the grief that all the adults and Hazel are feeling. So she goes downstairs and she doesn't find anything on his computer, and it's kind of sad because it's like the last link to him. And she can't find it, and she doesn't know where it could be. So she lays in his bed for a little while because it smells like him. And the last line of the chapter is, I never quite caught his scent again. Which is really sad because he's gone. So chapter 24, Augustus's dad calls about a notebook that had a bunch of pages ripped out of it. Hazel goes to the literal heart of Jesus because that was the last time they went out. Maybe he left him there for her. I don't know. But he didn't. Hazel takes the elevator, which she is adamantly against at the beginning of the book. So maybe now she's becoming more accepting of her impending death now that Gus is gone and she's seen it. Patrick asks Hazel's reason for staying alive during support group. She thinks about how the universe wants to be noticed. So she's trying to notice everything the best she can because she thinks she owes it to the universe for all the people that can't notice it, trying to notice the universe the best that she can, which I think is a really good reason for staying alive. The universe is actually really cool when you notice it. Hazel wants her parents to have a life outside taking care of her, and it turns out that her mom's been taking classes online to become a social worker, which is awesome. The whole time, Hazel's just been worried about what's going to happen to her mom when she dies. But now she's going to have a job helping other families with people with cancer. 25 starts, and Hazel wakes up after having a dream about being alone and boatless in a huge lake, which makes sense because her lungs are essentially drowning. Caitlin calls and it's boring and she doesn't really want to talk to her, but Caitlin says that maybe the pages in the notebook that Augustus wrote weren't written for Hazel. Hazel realizes that means he must have sent them to Van Houten. Oh my gosh! Why has she not thought of this before? Hazel emails Levi and she says that she will go over to Van Houten's house to check the place for Augustus's mail. Hazel says she misses the future, which reminds me a lot of Looking for Alaska, because the main character in that book is obsessed with imagining the future as a kind of nostalgia. Hazel means that she can't have a future, definitely not with Augustus, and most likely not with someone else. She can't have this life that a lot of other people have, like living for a long time and growing old with someone, which she misses even though she's never experienced it. That made me think of how we take for granted the fact that we will probably live at least 5 times as long as Hazel is going to live. Is crazy. And those people who are living till they're super old, some of them aren't doing anything with their lives, and if Hazel had that time, she could do so much awesome stuff. And I feel really bad for Hazel because she deserves to have that time, but she doesn't have it. Hazel's mom wants to celebrate Bastille Day. Hooray! Bastille Day! I like that her mom makes every day a holiday. When your kid has cancer, you have to be able to get excited about the little things. Hazel tries to notice everything and appreciate the lives of everyone in the park. We go to see Gus in the newest grave, and Hazel puts a little French flag at the foot of his grave and says maybe passerby would think that he was a member of the French Foreign Legion or some heroic mercenary. It's sort of what Augustus wanted. He wanted to be remembered, and Hazel knows that, and she knows it'll make him happy, so she does it. Because even though he's gone, she still wants to make him happy because she loves him. Levi emails Hazel back finally, and there are attachments of all the things that Gus wrote. The whole thing is really amazing and wonderful and perfect, so you should just read the whole thing. I was gonna pick out a couple of my favorite quotes, but then I realized the entire thing is my favorite. The whole part that Augustus wrote. I'm going to read the last paragraph because it's beautiful. This is from Augustus's letter to Van Houten. What else? She is so beautiful. You don't get tired of looking at her. You never worry if she is smarter than you. You know she is. She's funny without ever being mean. I love her. I'm so lucky to love her, Van Houten. You don't get to choose if you get hurt in this world, old man, but you do have some saying who hurt you. I like my choices. I hope she likes hers. I do, Augustus. I do. That's The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I hope you enjoyed book clubbing with us this month. October starts, and we are reading Matched by Condie, which is the first in a trilogy. If you have not read it, or even if you have, I hope that you will read along with us this month of October. See you next time!